I'm showing you my UNISA. Okay, there you go. So, all right. So this presentation, I piggybacked a little bit on Pumla Mtlanga's group briefing from last semester, but I tweaked it to make it suitable for what I want to focus on. But I'll post the whole presentation. We are not going to go through everything in it. But I'll share the whole presentation in case you wanted a reminder of something, and in case we have some questions coming from the floor that is on slides that I have here but are not necessarily going to talk through. So you can see now that first I'm going to show you the documents that we have available under additional resources. We talked about that in the assignment prep session, but we're going to talk through those documents because many of them has to do with the group aspects. So we will look at the assignment instructions together today, not the assignment tasks. They are on the presentation, but we talked about them in the brief. So I'm not going to duplicate that or repeat that, but we are going to go through the instructions so that it can refresh your minds, or at least help you hear it from my voice. You don't have to just read it. And then, it also helps us to formulate questions or spot things that are not clear when we talk through the instructions like we're going to. Then we're going to talk through the group guidelines, the peer evaluation form and the submission process. And then the type of assignment and the assignment task summaries are similar to what we did for the assignment prep session. Those I'm not going to cover unless there is a question about those and we want to see that slide to just get on the same page. But it will be there for you to go through on your own, if you please. All right, so the documents, the little screen grab shows you the additional resources folder for assignment 1. That is where you can find the gold for this assignment. Everything we're going to talk through, all the documents are there already. So you can go and download them from there and go through them. Keep the actual documents for yourself that we're going to talk through today. So we're going to talk through the group guidelines. Then, this is the documents, not what we're going to talk about. There's the group guidelines we're going to talk through today. There's the brief or the prep sessions presentation slides that is shared there. There is that template or structure document that is kind of you can start on that as a document template even, but it shows you how you can put this assignment together, because many people, especially now that you are in groups, it is not easy to make a decision on like the small things of an assignment, because people have different styles and now you're all coming together. So if you have difficulty with figuring out what the kind of style is you're going to go for, you can use that style exactly as it is, and skip that part of the negotiation or agreement to be gotten between everyone, if that's the easiest. Of course, that is not the only way you can go about it. And there's no single correct way, so that is not limiting you in terms of what you want to do in terms of an introduction or subsections or so. You don't have to follow that by the letter if you don't want to. Then there is the assignment itself, that one third from the bottom, assignment 1 Ubuntu textiles. That is the same as the assignment that's available on the assignment page and on a page per page basis, like in the task and guidelines part of the assignment. And then there is the peer evaluation forms and the submission instructions. Both of those are documents. We're going to talk through those today. All right, so let's begin with the group guidelines. I'm going to talk through this, the points. These are the main points of let me show you the actual document. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm going to talk from this document, but it is the same headings, and you can find the details of what I'm saying in the more detailed document. But I'm not going to show this one exactly. I'm just going to show you the summary and talk from this one. And all right, there we see the kind of main things that this document stipulates. Again, there's many ways to kill a cat, many ways you can go about this. You don't have to follow this, but this is what the teaching team kind of agreed on. And because we teach in teams, we kind of understand what it is to work with other people. Like, we are a group of 5 people that have to work together on this module, although we have lots of other work as well. Like, you have lots of other modules, all of us are on other modules as well. So we kind of have a similar life in this sense, that we work in different teams for different things. We're not only busy with this module, but all of us are together in this. So we have to figure out some ways, and these are kind of our tips. So working in a team requires us to cooperate and to communicate, and to share the responsibility of the task. And this is as much part of this task as the actual content of it is. You get marks for it, and it is for the experience of it. We want you to go through the experience of working with others. So the content is not the only thing we're interested in. We are interested in you having this experience, although it will be unknown to us for the most part exactly what happened. We want to throw you in at pool so that you get a chance to organize a Teams meeting of your own, do a recording, share the link, talk to others, make arrangements in the group about who's following what, who's in which position or which role. So these guidelines are what we figure is kind of the best. Clarify the task together is the first. So the little sub-list we have here is review the assignment instructions carefully. Make sure that everyone understands the objectives, requirements, and deadlines. Those are deadlines for the assignment and your internal deadlines that you set. Discuss how the tasks can be divided into manageable sections, and make sure all members contribute meaningfully to the project. I would say this little red note is on, you'll see that on the document. It says take time to clarify expectations early on so that you can prevent confusion later. And this is what, like, this idea of go through the task together. In the prep session, I said you will do this kind of legwork of understanding what the task is about, like on your own and in your group. So today the focus is on the groups, but together these steps will get you closer to understanding what everybody's going to do, what everybody understands of it, how you are going to keep each other accountable, and so on. So that is next is agree on the roles and the responsibilities. To ensure balanced participation, you must divide the work amongst group members. And then there's some general roles and responsibilities that can be assigned for work that need to happen for the entire duration of the project, like general roles. And you can rotate those roles if you can feel that those are too much for one person to carry all the time. And members may share the responsibility. So it doesn't have to be one person per one role. You can have 2 or 3 people on one kind of general area of responsibility, depending on your group size. Now, you are 11, I believe. And just on top of that, Vicky actually reminded me yesterday of this. You are 11 names in that group. In your groups, each of your groups should have 11, but it could be that some of the students that are on the list are not active students, because people registered now until when? Till late in July. And there's no way for us to know who registered and is running into financial problems, so they won't actually continue with a module, or who registered and then changed their minds, or who is not going to be active at all. They registered, but they're not completely convinced whether they should study or not. So you might not reach all of your people. You must go on working with or without the complete group. And if somebody joins you too late, because everyone on your list is in the group, right? Did you see I posted sorry, it's a bit off topic, but I posted your name lists for you. This is now the my UNISA screen. So for all of the groups, I mean, I can see all the groups, so you won't be able to see. You will probably be able to see only your own group. But for each of you, there's group 2, there's group 3, there's group 4, there's group 1. I made a post with that list, and that is all the names of the people in a group and their email addresses. So if you somehow struggle to see who is in the group, that is how you know on what group you are and who else is with you. So this is the contact forum you guys are going to use to talk to one another. If you prefer, you can also take it off My UNISA. Doesn't have to be on My UNISA, but that is a good point to go figure out who's in your group. But all right, that being said, you must continue your work. You don't have a lot of time. I mean, the assignment is due 10 days from now. So you don't have time to wait for someone. So you go on with your arrangements. You make sure that the person who is absent, so let's say 7 people are active and they're in the group and they're on the WhatsApp group, so to speak, and 3 people are not, or 4 people are not. You must make sure that those people can join the group. So even if you're talking on WhatsApp, somebody must keep an eye on the forum or on your MyLife emails in case one of the other group members reach out that had some hiccup with registration or is late registration or, you know, whatever, just didn't realize they had this assignment due. You must start, and then if somebody joins, don't make a rule about it right now. But if somebody joins, then deal with it. If there is still a good chance for that person to contribute, let them just join the group. Divide them into some task and let them just participate. All of us, I mean, hopefully not too many of you, but everybody who's been a student at uni, so you know that sometimes you struggling to get your registrations correct, or if you want to change over from one module to another, it is troublesome and it takes a while. So sometimes it can really be out of your control. It's not like everybody who's not active are just lazy and sitting around at home. So we can't punish everyone for joining late because we don't know exactly the circumstances. But if somebody joins too late to participate, you can send that person back to me. That person can come on their own, like can contact me on from their side, or the group can contact me on a whole, asking me for what is the best way out here. There will always be people who are late to join, and if the people cannot be absorbed in the actual group, in the original group, we will form a new, like a latecomers group or something along those lines. Or we will negotiate with this. I will negotiate with a specific team to say, I know this person is late. I know they didn't participate in task 1 and 2. This is what the person can do to kind of catch up. So maybe an additional task, like an add-on to one of the written tasks, and participation in the debate, or some remedy, you know. But don't go making too many special arrangements that's going to affect your actual assignment without talking to me. There's many plans to make. I'll help you make them so that things are fair and square and you don't have like hangers on who do not do their work. But it is really unfair to not, there's no way us as the lecturers can create a type of environment where any student is not welcome the moment they arrive. So if it can't be a problem for a group to solve, it will be a problem for me to solve. So but you don't have to be overly concerned until such thing happens. But it can happen, it will happen likely, because every semester there is some people with issues. All right, now I went off topic a little bit again, but I am reminding you of things as they come to me. So back to the roles and responsibilities. These general roles, what I mean by those are like, maybe there's somebody that is a strong communicator or a strong leader, or wants wants to be in the role to organize things, to manage things. So you can appoint as a group somebody as the coordinator that kind of takes the lead in organizing your meetups, instigating the discussions on WhatsApp or dishing out work or whatever. There may be a coordinator that takes the lead to some extent. Then there could be, for instance, a general role of people who do like the technical editing, like maybe check the language and check the technical presentation of the assignment on the whole task per task. That can be a general role for someone, but it doesn't mean, I mean, if you're in a general role, that's just like your group role. It means still there's some content work you have to do. So you have to participate in the making of the assignment, but in the group setting, you can dish out the work like that. So everybody doesn't have to look after technical presentation. Everybody doesn't have to ensure that the spelling and the grammar is looking good. It can be a general duty of one or two of your group members to do that kind of overarching tasks. There could also be like someone, it's in this list, it's like an administrator that is kind of keeping the document records. So every contribution that is sent by a group member is kept and documented and saved, and a backup made, for instance. And the drafts of your assignment, there is a backup copy made so that your documents don't get lost. Like, let's say you share something on a WhatsApp group, it feels like it's safe. Then that specific member that has it or saved it or whatever turns on disappearing messages and gone is the document or something, I don't know. So there can be someone that is the gatekeeper of documentation and just make sure that everything is saved somewhere centrally that you can access. So that's what I mean when I say general roles. You can decide to do that or to not do that. I mean, you can also happily have a group without those general, because if you just have a general meeting, you dish up the work in that meeting, and then let's say the 5 people or working together on task 1, they do their own meetings, they do their own editing, they do their own administration and backups. It doesn't have to be for the whole group. You can make those choices. These are just ideas. Then other roles can be specific to a task. And the one that I'm thinking about that is specifically important is the debate. So for the debate, I think two roles would be specifically important, and that is somebody that is like on this document called the technician, that makes sure, is the meeting being recorded? Are you taking down the timestamps? Like, did everybody tick off a list who made contributions already and whose contribution is missing? Take the screenshots of the chat column or whatever it is. It can be done live so that nobody has to slog through a recording at the end. If you do it live, accurately live, then with let's say a technician role or like a secretary role or whatever you want to call it of the debate, then you have it done, or you have it mostly done. Even by the end of the debate, it can be completed and just be easily inserted into your assignment. For the debate, I also strongly suggest that you appoint a facilitator. Whether this person is like your group's leader or not, doesn't really matter. But for the session, that opens the session, that makes sure that everybody's in the room before you start, or to kind of make the decision, like, listen, we're waiting for 2 people. We've waited for 10 minutes already. We have to continue with this. If somebody comes, like we had this person first up on my list, say, but if this person is not in the room, if they're not here by the last person speaking, they will have to give us a written contribution in the chat later this afternoon or whatever it is to make that call. So a facilitator, and the facilitator then also makes sure that everybody gets a chance to contribute. Make sure that there is some interaction during the debate. So some conversation going on and not just every person reading a little contribution one after the other and then closing the session. That is not a debate. A debate must at least have some feedback on somebody's contribution, you don't have to, not every person has to comment on every single contribution, but I'd say at least there must be at least one question from everybody's side or one comment on somebody else's contribution to make this conversation kind of going on. And you don't have to have everything prepped. You can't, because you don't know exactly what everybody's going to say. But that is why the facilitator is important, to go like, can we have a question from the floor? Or is there time for a question from the floor on this first 3 contributions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, you may speak. Yes, go ahead. Whatever, that type of role. It's important for a debate, because otherwise you sit there in a group and and not know, everybody doesn't want to speak, and you don't want to start, and you don't want to make a decision that might like offend somebody. Appoint someone that can make those decisions, and you know, by making that appointment, you are trusting that person to not waste your time, and to make it fair for the group in that debate session itself. And then there are tasks, kind of when you're thinking about the writing part of it too. So you can do this task by task, or you can appoint different roles. So right through for, let's talk now about the 2 written tasks rather than the debate, because the debate is a collective action. But let's say for the 2 tasks, you can divide the tasks. Half of the group works on one, half of the group works on another, or you can appoint like people who's going to do the reading. Let's say half the group going to do the reading and the other half is all going to write. So the researchers, let's say, can come back with relevant material, relevant sources, complete reading of, let's say, a recommended source that everybody didn't read. A specific task like that, bring the information, share it with a group, and then there's maybe somebody who is good at formulating sentences and paragraphs. So you make short notes as a researcher or as a group of researchers, send those short notes and references to the writer, and the writer kind of formulates the paragraphs, make sure that the paraphrasing is correct, make sure that there's a coherence in the writing, because some people have more talent for writing than others. If you want to do that, you can also do it. You can change the style, but they can be. And then for another kind of role for the writing, but it's like critical readers. So let's say you split it up in 3: a group that does the research and brings the notes, a group that does the writing from those notes, and a group that is the critical readers to make sure that it's correct, to make sure that the referencing is correct, make sure that the source is actually paraphrased, make sure that the argument makes sense or the sentence makes sense. That type of contribution. You can divvy it up like that, or task per task if that's easier. And then per task, the smaller group can do this type of segmentation if they feel like it. Then the third point is set clear deadlines and keep each other accountable. Now, I think if you organize a first discussion, and that can be on WhatsApp or like in a live discussion, decide on internal deadlines. You have 10 days. You have to start working quickly. So make sure that we must bring, let's say I work on task 1, the different tasks must bring the task responses within 5 days of now, because the last 5 days we're going to use for the debate and for putting together the assignment. So that is the internal deadline. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to announce it to anybody. It's your internal deadline. But I think it's important to make such deadlines, whether it's like one important deadline or like smaller deadlines, like day per day or whatever. But it's important to make those and agree on those. So start, have a meeting or a discussion as soon as you can. And keep the discussion going. You don't have to talk every day. You can have 2 meetings. Let's say one is like a arrangement meeting. The second one is a bring your contribution and update everybody else on what you've done and maybe where you haven't finished or something. And then there's a final deadline for actually submitting your final thing to whoever is going to put it together. And that must also be an internal deadline, because handling that, if you only send the poor last person who has to work on the document everything on the last day, they're going to run into trouble, and it means the whole group is running into trouble. So, decide on those things to plan your time so that you don't have a panic on submission day. Then allow enough time for reviewing. Oh, that's basically what I say, that last person, or the person who's going to put it together, or the person who's reading it last. You must leave time for them to do their work as well. And then make sure that everybody knows what contribution is expected of them, whether it's subgroups or the main group, whether it's one person kind of taking the lead or many people speaking together. That doesn't matter, but it's important that all of you start working knowing what is expected. Am I expected to have a complete draft that is written out and correct, almost like submission ready, of the task I'm working on in 3 days from now? Or must I just show some progress 3 days from now? It's important to know what is expected of you so that you don't end up 3 days later without anything substantial being done if the substantial contribution was expected in 3 days, you see. All right, so to ensure fairness also, I think the group on the whole, or the coordinator, or the administrator, or whoever is given the responsibility, keep track of who is responsible for which roles. So almost like a work distribution, you see, and like what contributions they're going to bring, what other tasks they are doing on the group. Like, are they the one to schedule the debate? Are they the one to save the recording and make sure it's accessible to me who's going to market, that I have permission to view it, for instance? What is the specific role, like group tasks and content tasks of every person, and when is it expected? And share that list with everybody so that if you forgot what was said to you or what you promised, then it is written down somewhere where the whole group can see, like, person A was responsible for writing this part, or like making the graphic, or setting up the meeting, and they have not done this, so that you can keep each other accountable in that way, and so that it doesn't end up with one person doing everything because you forgot exactly. And this one says, no, but I didn't agree to this, or you didn't make it clear enough that I must do the scheduling of the debate now. What? So write it down so that it's there. And then somebody must also keep track of the delivery of contributions so that you know this is in, this is in, this is in, this has been done, so that when you do a recap meeting or a feedback meeting, then somebody is like somebody has like the contributions lined up and understands what is still to come in and what not. Because especially if you work in subgroups, it can get lost, because it's not necessarily one person that's always knowing what's going on if you're working in smaller groups. So make sure that it is clear to everyone and written down for future reference. Okay, then you can also, of course, if you have meetings like this one, record it if you want to have a record of it. On WhatsApp, it's a bit easier if you just don't switch on those disappearing messages or whatever. You can keep the conversation.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Louise, you're just not doing the presentation anymore. Your screen is still on MyUnisa.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did forget, but I mean, this one is also kind
No
of
worries.
static. Sorry, I completely forgot. It's still the same slide, luckily. All right, then communicate regularly. I don't think we need to tell you that, hopefully, because you are senior communication students. So I think you must agree initially on what platform you're going to communicate. Is the discussion forum your main place? Because that discussion forum is not for me, right? I'm not going to talk there. I'm going to share like this recording link and this presentation slides there, because it doesn't apply to the whole class, like the additional resources. So I'm going to share things there, but that is for you to talk on. It's not for asking me questions. Asking me questions still via email is the best for me. Chatting to me directly on Teams is okay. I mean, giving me a call is sometimes not, it can work very well sometimes for something quick, but you know, there is so many times when I'm in class or in a meeting, like you can imagine now, you've seen me so many times this past week. You know, if you put all the modules I work on together, then there's something happening every day, and I'm not by the phone necessarily all the time. So email is the best. And if you want to know something of me, you know, appoint one person or come as an individual, ask me via email, give me a ring, uh, uh, chat with me on Teams. As I said in the welcome session, it is not easy for me to talk on. I'll show you that now we're back at my UNISA. But it's not easy for me to keep track of messages here because I am like, look at those 87 private messages, and they're not for me. Most of them not for me because I am on millions of modules. Look at this list. So keeping track of conversation here is not what I do. See, there's 8 come in since I last checked it, because I have to open everything and then one ends up being for me. So writing an email to me is the shortest route to know that you find me and you're going to hear from me. All right, but you as a group can communicate on WhatsApp, on your emails, on the group discussion forum, on another platform, in real life, whatever it is that works for you. You can do that, or choose multiple platforms if that is what you decide, to ensure that there's like maybe one official platform like the discussion forum, so somebody goes and posts there after every conversation or every important decision you make, so that somebody who comes later can kind of catch up on what's been happening, even if you actually do your conversations on WhatsApp. But that is for you to figure out what works best for everyone and what is going to work best for you as a group to ensure that you get things done, because that's what's important. Then, all right, I said already that you must agree on how the individual contributions and the feedback, let's say from a critical reader, in what form and on what platform do people submit those written pieces? Do they submit it in a Word document where it's already formatted? Do they submit it via WhatsApp and one central person gets that from WhatsApp in another format? How are you going to receive contributions for an easy collation at the end? All right, then inform the group. That is more an individual appeal. If you struggle with something, inform the group as soon as you're having trouble. It's the same kind of as talking to your lecturers if you're going to be late for an assignment. Talk early if there's problems. It's easier for a bigger collective to help sort a problem than for you to sit on a problem just to report a little too late that you haven't completed because you've been waiting for your lecturer, or you have not been able to access a source, or whatever the story is. If you talk early, there's a lot of you that can help, that can share reading, that can solve problems, if everybody can know about that happening. So, you know, share with the group so that you can get help and that everybody knows. Listen, person A is like ill for 2 days. She cannot bring the contribution on the day that we said. She's bringing it the next day. That is important for everyone to know so that everyone can sleep at night. All right, that person is still going to come to the table even though it is late. Catch my drift, I hope. Then, all right, then the fifth point is respect to your different perspectives. So all of you may have different ideas, different approaches to assignments, different ways of working together. So you need to discuss how you're going to handle differences and conflict. Like, it doesn't have to be a long discussion. It can be a few simple ground rules, like we listen to one another. If there is a disagreement, we discuss it respectfully. No quitting the group just because you feel insulted. No screaming or fighting talk. It is a civil conversation where there's turn taking, and whatever it is that you need to say for a group of 10 or 11 people who's going to work together, to, if there is a fight going on, how can we resolve a fight? That type of thing. I hope you don't have problems, but come to some come to some agreement on how you're going to treat one another with respect. And then, I mean, the easiest thing is to focus on the solutions. To strengthen your overall assignment. That is like for an individual who's feeling kind of precious about their work, and then they're getting feedback from another team member that says, it's going to be better if you formulate this way because I didn't completely follow what you were writing here. I mean, think about the bigger assignment and what is the best for strengthening that assignment rather than feeding your own ego or like standing on a point that will have no resolution. It is better for you to go on, for instance, in some cases, than to focus too much on a disagreement. You can go like, we agree to disagree. Somebody, let's vote which way we're going, and then whoever's way it is not, they accept it and go on just for the sake of the assignment. That's what I mean. Then, all right, I already said that, keep records and make backups of all your work. There's some detailed points, but I've covered all of those already. Then, for the submission, sorry, let me just sip some water. The final submission. The settings of the assignment is done as such that any one of you can do the submission. Any one of you can replace that submission with another submission. So what it requires of you to do that, we made it that way to make it like functionally the easiest, but it does create a potential risk for you because everybody who has access to your group, to your assignment, can like inadvertently do something wrong on there to like that can have the wrong document there. So I would say it's the most important if all of you have a check, is this the correct document? Like, let's say the coordinator or the administrator or whoever you appoint, they do the actual pushing of the buttons, click, submit. All of you will be able to see that submission. Then I would say appoint, you can all do it to have that collective like burden of having to, you saw with your own eyes. It is the right thing. It is the thing that is ready for submission. It looks good. It is the thing that you agreed on. Your contribution there is as it should have been at the end, whatever. Or you can appoint 2 or 3 people that has the job to go and check, is that submission correct? Because if it's submitted, if that deadline comes, you know, it's too late. So make sure that it's not just one person's job to see to it that everything with submission is correct. Share that load by having someone to go and check it also. Then, okay, last point is be professional and responsible. That almost goes without saying. If there's a meeting, do your best to attend it. If you can't attend it, make a proper excuse. Make sure the people, the rest of your group, know where you are, that you cannot attend for a legitimate reason. Complete your tasks on time. If you can't, talk to your group and tell them your reasoning. It doesn't help if there is reasoning for 10 days to come and you can't contribute. That is too many days of not being available. Then you haven't done anything, whether it was legitimate or not. Then you need to talk to me, not your group. Support each other where there is needed. If somebody gets ill suddenly or has a sick child and they cannot actually make a meeting and they had an important role that they cannot fulfill, support that person or stand in for them for the good of the assignment. But without like just one person doing it, because that kind of is the easiest and everybody else can sit on their backsides. If you want to do that, I'll probably not know, but if you want to take this process as it comes, and it doesn't have to overburden just one person, it can be a group that is flexible enough to hand over a task to someone else if it's necessary in a supportive action. But it's also the group where everybody brings a little bit to the party to make you successful in assignment 1. All right, I think that is it for group guidelines. Now, next up is not on a slide. So I'm going to go to the document here, just quickly on them. Now I've talked too much about the group assignment. I haven't gone through the instructions. let's see if there's time. The submission of the peer evaluation form is not difficult. You know where the peer evaluation form is, one of those under additional resources. I just want to open mine on this side. No. Let me open it from here. I showed it briefly on during the shucks, that's also not successful. There you go. This is a Word document. So each member fills their own one. It's not like that list means member one and then they complete that. No, each individual hands in a form. So that is your own name and student number and group number. And these are the other people in your group that you are giving a rating. So the rating scale is a scale out of 5. And that is for reliability of contributions, for attendance of meetings, for adherence to internal deadlines, for contribution to the group arrangements, for communication, for additional possible duties and roles. And then the final question is probably the most important. Like, if you feel somebody didn't do enough to deserve a mark, what you're essentially saying is that person deserves a 0. Then you mark it there. And if all of you agree that like a certain person didn't do enough, then it is something that I will take up. If one person had a gripe with someone else and they mark there a yes, but everybody else is fine with that person, then there's not much about the unhappiness of one person to do, because there's absolutely no way I'm going to give any of you a 0 without proper cause. So you don't have to be scared that you just get a 0 automatically if some people thought you didn't do your thing. You must be scared once I decide you didn't do enough. So these evaluation forms, it's a way to express yourselves to me at the end of the day, but it is not, no decision is made only based on this form. Okay, I want you to know that so that you kind of feel free to rate people honestly, but don't take it as an opportunity to screw someone over if you had a personal difference of opinion or something like that. The guidelines, just quickly, there's this document that gives you a step-by-step, like where to find the discussion forum, create a dedicated topic to the discussion. For your discussion forum, someone should at least process and make sure all the group members can navigate to the forum topic if there's somebody that's struggling. Because remember, some of you are of advanced age, so technology is not all that easy for everyone. So if there's somebody who doesn't know how to find the right place on MyUnisa, just help that person out or submit their form on their behalf or whatever. Like, make sure that everyone can get here where they need to get. Then for me, I find it the easiest to make an initial post and then for everyone to use that reply function to submit submit below it. On the same comment. But if you have a forum topic, you could create separate posts under it too. It doesn't matter. I must be able to find those forms, all of them. And the easier I can find them, the more sure you are of them being submitted. Okay. This is a whole step-by-step, but you can start somewhere by knowing that the group discussion forums can be found here, and yours won't look completely like this because you will only be one group. So let's see what that's the group names. That's not the discussion forum. But it will look something like this with your different discussion topics. Here, your group should all be the same group, and then whoever posted last or so. I started the discussion forums. I believe my name will stay there, but the last post, the name you can see, and the number of replies. So, it's as easy as that. I see some of you have already been interacting on here. Then the last thing, no, All right. I think let's rather go to Q&A than to talk through the instructions together. Because now, of course, time has run away. Oh, I can keep the presentation on for what it's worth. But all right, we are still a small group, so we can talk until your questions are finished. Vicky, you're free to leave whenever you want to, and any of you too are free to leave if you don't have any questions. But you know, here I am at your disposal. Do you have anything that we can talk about? I mean, if it's just the two of you and you want me to go through the instructions, I can also continue. I don't mind. But questions? Nothing. No problem. I mean, you don't have to talk. It's no problem for me. Just give me an indication. Do you want all the instructions to talk through, or are you comfortable to go through it alone? You know, discuss or no discuss. So we end the class rather than, I don't know. Okay, no, I think that means let's end the class. I'll share the slides, and you know, the door is still open. This is maybe the last point of invitation that you need to know. My door is open for you to ask as a group to have another session in the next 10 days. It will have to be something that can work for me in my rest of my schedule, but I'm willing to do that. Or if you want to send one person to clarify some things with me, you're welcome to do that. I am here to help. And then if you see, I know 10 days is not a lot. If you see that you're running into trouble with the submission deadline, talk to me and maybe we can make a plan. I'll have to talk to the other lecturers to see what they are allowing and not, but it's not impossible for me to give you a day or two if I hear from you that it's really needed. So take that to the rest of your group and talk to me if you are in trouble. Yes, Matthew, you may speak.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask, on the submission, it
Yeah.
says that it's due on the 20th of August and not the 24th.
Yes, I know. I said it in the briefing session. It's in the prep session. It is. I'm waiting for that to officially change, but I will ensure that you have until the 24th. So don't mind that. Don't consider that 20th as the truth. It is officially on the system in a way that I can't change. It must be changed by assignment section, and I'm waiting for it is a process of getting some signatures, and I'm waiting for someone down the line to still sign, and then assignments can open it up and move it. So but if it's not moved, even if it's not moved, I will open up the portal like manually if it needs be. So it is the 24th. It is 8 o'clock at night on the 24th is the deadline. So if you want to talk to me about like a submission, a late submission, then it's something that cannot come in on the 24th. The 20th is an incorrect date, or it wasn't incorrect from the start. We didn't realize that the academic calendar is going to start the semester at like late, and then like we gave too little time for this first assignment, but the semester doesn't have time to move it elsewhere.
Okay,
But all right, so
ma'am.
the 20th is just incorrect, but it's not fixed officially.
Okay, ma'am. And one other question, with
Yeah.
regard to the word count,
Yeah.
is it possible for us to maybe go beyond the specified, or must we stick exactly to the specified word count?
You know, I'm going to market, so it depends on what I am prepared to tolerate. Normally, the rule is you can go a sentence or two over, but if a marker, we always instruct the markers that they are allowed to stop marking at the word count, because the general rule is you keep to the word count. But my rule is if I can see the answer is longer than the word count, and I'm pretty good at it because we've been marking assignments for long. If I can see, oh, this is so long, and I count the words, and you are like 100 words over, you're going to lose the last 100 words. But if you write an extra sentence and it's still just, it looks right, it's not a ridiculous extra read, so that I don't pick up on it, or even if I do a word count, I see, oh, it's like 20 words maybe on the assignment total. That's not too bad. So stick to the word count, but it doesn't have to be exact. It can be like finish the sentence at the end, or write your one extra sentence or something.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think we're done. Lydia, do you have any questions?
Morning. I don't have any questions.
Okay, cool. But all right, if questions come to you, ask me. If it comes to your group, ask me. Engage me again if you need me to talk to your group, like as just your group. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to answer your clarification questions as you go, or help you solve problems if you encounter them. So let's stop this, and then thank you for coming. Not a lot of people. I understand it is a Friday afternoon, and you've heard of me so many times this week. But all right, enjoy your weekend and enjoy this assignment one. It's work, and it's a short time you have for it, but we are generally not super strict on it. We want you to enjoy this experience and embrace the experience of working with other people. It's not just you alone. It's a short assignment, and it's even, given to more than one person. So it shouldn't be the most heavy burden you've ever carried. I hope you find some pleasure in it too. Okay, that's it from me. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.